Hi guys, EBPMAN with Tablets for Me, and today we're going to do an unboxing review of the Airbender 3.0 wireless keyboard case for the iPad Air. And this case was brought to us by Newtrent. Now before actually going into the actual unboxing, I wanted to highlight some of the main features that are highlighted here for the Airbender 3.0. First of all, one of the things that you'll notice here is that it has 360-degree rotation. So we're going to see how that works as we do the unboxing and review. You can actually separate the actual cover from the actual keyboard. It has a metal stand, and once again it highlights the fact that the protective case is independent from the actual keyboard itself, so you can look at that. You'll notice also here it highlights specific features around the actual keys themselves, and what we'll do is we'll just take a look at the actual contents to see what's included. Now inside the box you're going to find your actual keyboard case combo. You're going to have a user guide, micro USB charging cord, and also a 3-month warranty card. Now taking a closer look at the case, one of the things that I'll highlight is that the case is made out of a hard plastic material, and that is something that's evident that you see here in the front, as also as you see this in the back. On the back you'll notice that it does have some rubber legs on each one of the corners, and that's going to provide stability for the actual tablet as it's in the laptop mode, as I'll call it. The case, in addition to having the actual hard plastic, has a metal, I would say, stand, or this is the area that as you actually open up the tablet case, that supports the actual screen and the keyboard. So it's a combination of that hard plastic with this metal bracket that actually supports your case. Now the case itself is secured by I would say a clasp, but this clasp isn't really a metal clasp. It's more like a rubberized clasp. And all you do is you pull this out like this, and then what you then can do is open up the case. Now immediately what you'll see is that the case itself has this hard plastic tray where your iPad's going to rest in. Now, a couple of things also to highlight is that the iPad itself, the back, is supported, and it has this rubberized material that it's almost like memory foam. You'll notice that as I touch it, it kind of compresses and then it pops out. And this is really a really nice feature because it's going to prevent your actual iPad from getting any scratches as it's resting inside of this case, which is a hard shell. Taking a look at the actual keyboard itself, the keyboard is a raised keyboard. It's a tactile keyboard, so you actually feel it. It's not material based. And if we take a look at that in an angle, you'll notice that it has a decent height to it. So you can definitely tell that you're pressing a button. Unlike some of the other cases that you may see out there, that it may be difficult to sense that you do press a button because of how maybe soft they are, or because they're so low from a footprint perspective on the keyboard itself. You'll notice that the keyboard is a full keyboard in what I would say iPad mode. It is designed for the iPad, so you'll see some proprietary buttons that are unique to the iOS operating system and really support some of the functionality that you have with the actual iPad. But then what you'll also find is some similar keys that are very familiar to us all in iOS. So you'll notice you have the actual control option and command, rather, not so much iOS, but in the Mac OS I would say operating system. So you have some of those similar command keys that are available, and you'll notice that there is a function button, and this function button does give you additional options. And you can see you have the page up and the page down, as well as over here you have a lock function that can be invoked by using the function button. Some basic things that are important to all of us: the ability to increase or decrease the screen brightness. This keyboard does not illuminate at all, but this control does allow you to control what's happening on the screen. Multimedia controls are also present. You can see that right here. So you have your ability to be able to pause and forward, as well as increase and decrease the volume or mute your tablet. There are indicators here that we'll see once we power up the tablet, and you can see that really clearly here when your caps is selected, when you're charging, Bluetooth is enabled, you have your connection button, and then you also have your on button. So there isn't an on button on the side. You'll also notice that there is a tray or a channel here, a groove, where your tablet, as it's inserted, if it needed to, and it needed to rest in this area, it doesn't look like it goes all the way down, but if you put it this way, it would definitely fall into that area and hold it there. So we'll see how that works once we have our tablet, our iPad, in the actual case. On the sides themselves, you see right there a micro USB charging port. It's not a FireWire port, but it's a standard micro USB charging port. On the back, as it's open, this is where you actually get to see the actual overall hinge mechanism that you see here. And you see that that's that metal hinge mechanism. You'll see how that opens and how it provides some nice angle qualities there. The case itself, or the keyboard itself, also has some rubber feet, and you'll notice that here and here, and it's also on the other corners, so that as your tablet or your iPad in this case is actually inside of this hard shell, as it's resting, the keys themselves are not going to be pressing against the screen. So that's also a really nice feature. I'd say also that the space bar is a really good size, and I don't really feel cramped at all as I rest my fingers on the keyboard. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and insert the actual iPad Air into the actual case, and then we'll explore some of the other functions. I positioned the actual iPad case in this fashion just so that it would come up easily on camera. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to take the iPad Air and just insert it into the actual case. So there's really no science to it. I'm just going to push it in, snap it in on all the sides so that it snaps in. You'll hear an audible snap as it goes in, and that's really all there is to it. You'll notice, and I'll bring this upward, that there are some cutouts. So you have your volume rocker cutout here and your mute function cutout here. That easily accessible. If we rotate it in this fashion, you'll notice that you do have the charging port accessible, as well as you have a grill here that is going to support once again your the music or any kind of sound coming from the tablet. I'll rotate it this way as it's still connected. Just to show you another area, here at the very top in this angle, you'll notice that again you have your power button, pinhole mic, and headphone jack. Move that in camera so you can see that is accessible. So pretty much all of the existing ports, and on the back, if we look at it this way, you'll notice that your again your camera is easily accessible as well. So pretty much all the functions that are part of the iPad are supported with this cover itself. Now, we did talk about the fact that this is a the actual case as well as the cover you can separate. So you'll notice here that there is this Newtrent actual logo. If you push right here on both sides, and I move this away, here now I have an independent hard shell case for my iPad, and you'll notice that I have the Apple logo here is quite visible. So it's as simple as that to separate the two. And if I want to put them back together, all I do is I get into that same position, push these two buttons down like this, and now the actual case where the iPad is actually connected to the actual case combo with keyboard. So before going actually into the functionality of the keyboard, I wanted to show you some other aspects of the flexibility of the case. So if we focus first of all, just want to show you how thick the case is. It is almost twice the size as your iPad. So you'll notice that here's your iPad and then here's the keyboard area. If we go into the back, there's an actual switch here. And what this switch does is it allows you to really extend or modify the angles that your tablet is in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how that works. So literally, if I push this in like this, what will happen is this portion of the keyboard or of the case is going to come out. So I'm just going to put it sideways like this. I'm going to open it up. Right, so I have it here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this switch forward. And now by moving the switch forward, what you'll notice is that the actual top, or where the actual iPad is moving. That's going to give me some really flexible viewing angles. So I'm going to move it further back, just like this, so that you can see it. And then as I move it back, I can then rest it in this slot as I illustrated earlier. So I now have a real nice viewing angle depending again in what kind of environment I am. Now not only could I have it in this mode, which would be a landscape mode, but if I wanted to have it in a portrait mode, I can just simply rotate like this, and as you can see, it's going over my keyboard, right? So what I do is using this little switch that you see here on the back, I can actually move it back almost to the point where it would come out, and I think I somewhat overdid it. So put it back in. You'll notice right here I have my iPad in a portrait mode with the keyboard. So this is great if you're writing and you really want to see something almost like in a portrait mode. It gives you that type of flexibility. I can then again rotate if I'd like, put it back into this position if that's something that I chose. So a lot of viewing angles, and again giving you that flexibility with that little switch in the back. So to connect our keyboard to the actual iPad, what we're going to first do is turn it on. And all you do is you push the button sideways like this, and you notice that you have your Bluetooth light immediately starts to blink. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the connect button, and you'll notice that it's in the blinking mode. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings first on the iPad, and we're going to go into Bluetooth, and we're going to wait for the keyboard to show up. And you'll notice that it says Newtrent keyboard. So we're going to choose that. It's going to ask us to key in a pairing code. So 3340 is what it asks. It may be different for you. And then followed by the return key. And you'll notice that it's immediately connected. So that's all it takes to really connect it to your iPad. So pressing this button here, which would be the equivalent of the home button, should take us to the home. And you notice that it did it without any problems. We'll also test a couple of the keys. So increasing the volume will increase the volume. Lowering the volume would lower the volume. I should be able to adjust the brightness, and you see that I am doing that without any problems. So up and down volume, not a problem at all. And once again, let's see how the keyboard functions work as we type to see how responsive it is. So now from a keyboard perspective, let's see how the actual responsiveness between typing on the key pad and then also how things appear on the screen. So as I type, I can tell you the actual keyboard has spring to it. So when you do push the actual keys down, you do get that feedback. So it's not one of those keyboards where as you type, you don't really feel that you're depressing. So it has a good feel to it. Also, from a timing perspective, I find that the information as it comes up to the screen is pretty much real time, as it would with many keyboards. And you'll notice really no problems with the responsiveness at all as you're typing on the screen. So all in all, if we think about the flexibility of the actual rotation of the screen, the performance that you get from the keyboard, the actual controls, which are pretty standard, just like you would find with many iPad keyboards, the flexibility when it comes to the rotation of the arm and the separation of the actual case. It's a pretty powerful product, and one that if you're looking for a keyboard and looking for something that has this flexibility, it's definitely one to consider. So this concludes our review of the Airbender 3.0 wireless keyboard case for the iPad Air. I want to thank the folks from Newtrent for making this product available for our review, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.